Welcome back to my page. Okay, today we're going to be looking at some functions and the formulas. So today's class is on sum if, count if, and sum ifs. So we are going to know how to use them, when to use them, and how it works. So before we dive into sum if and count if, let's do the normal sum, minimum, average, and count. So before you go further in analyzing your data, the first thing you need to do is to understand the file you have been given to. This is a very small file and it's a yearly sales report. You're going to scan through and look at, oh, this year has different years, 2010, 2011, and 2012, and these are the sales reps. This one is the quantity sold by each of the sales rep, and the other one is the amount. So you have understood, oh, this is what this table is all about. And here you are asked to calculate the sum of total of everything that happened in this year, in this file, the quantity sold, and the amount. So we're going to be using this table to get all this answer we have here, to get all these questions we have here. So for the first thing we're going to do is to find the sum. Sum is equal to sum. Then what is the range? I'm going to pick the quantity since we're in quantity, and I close the bracket, equal to, automatically give me the sum of the quantity sold. Still on the quantity, we want to know the least quantity sold. We are going to use a minimum, and look at the formula, the minimum function to find the least quantity sold in this criteria. So with this, I press enter, it gives me the least quantity. The least quantity sold here is 24. Then also want to know the highest quantity, which is the maximum. I will do max. I will select the criteria. We are still on the quantity. Select the criteria here, close the bracket, and we see the highest quantity sold was 95. Then what is the average of everything sold? The average is, you select the same column and close the bracket, press enter. So the average of all the sales is 51. They want to know how many the quantity are. Equal to count. Now let's do count first. You still select this. Then you drop down or use shift. Okay. You press. It gave me 24. Count A also counts only the numbers also, so it will return the same thing. Let's do equal to count A. It counts the number on the cells that is not empty. That's why I say it counts only the numbers I said before. So we still select the range. Shift control down arrow key can select the whole column for you instead of dragging. Then you close it, you get your count. So that is that for the quantity. Do the same for the amount. So we're still going to write sum, open the bracket. The amount is what we are selecting now. Shift control down, it selects it, press enter, it gives me the total amount. Then for the mean also, we are going to do this, open bracket, click on the amount, the list amount that was sold, control shift down arrow key and press enter. The same also for max, equal to max, select the amount, shift and control down arrow key, select the whole cell, the whole column, and press enter. This is the highest amount that was sold. Then for the average, we go to average, select the column again, shift control down arrow key, equal to it gives you the average sales. Then for the count also, the count should equally give us the same, just like the quantity. Equal to count, select this, equal to 24. The same for count A, select the criteria and down arrow key. Since returning error. Okay, I do not have it on count A is okay. So that's these are simple arithmetic operations in Excel. Find the average, find the mean, and all of that. So these are not complicated, it's straight to the point. So now let's go into the advanced one. Like here we asked to find the conditions. You know, here we did general calculation. So now we want to find out specifically how many quantity Tega sold, how many quantity Ten sold, Ngozi sold. So when you are being specific about your calculation, you are going to use some if. You are going to use some if. So you're going to know how many quantity Tega sold. In this total, we had out of 1,224. How many did Tega sell? So we're going to do equal to. This time around, we're using some if. Some if. Then it asks us the range. The range here is the quantity. We are looking at the quantity. We're looking at the quantity. Then the criteria is no. The range here is Tega. That is the sales rep. Sorry. The range here is sales rep. Let me go back. The range here is sales rep. We are looking at what Tega did. Then inside the sales rep, whose own are we looking for? We're looking for Tega. And what's in where is the sum range of what we are looking for? We are looking at the quantity. So we're going to use so out of 224,000, Tega only sold 140 from it. Now I don't want to do for all of them. Remember when we did the relative reference, how we can log ourselves. If you look at this place, I'm going to log because we are referencing all the same range. I'm going to log this D 526 to D549. Control F, shift F4. I'm also going to lock here because if I drag down, it might be altered. So I'll lock it. I'll lock it up. Okay, sorry. What's my selecting? Let me go back. Control F. Good. I've locked it. Then Tega, this K is constant. I can equally lock the K and leave the number to be floating, to be changing. So shift and $sign, press enter. So 140 remains. So if I click down, if I autofill it, it gives me the calculation without altering the columns. So that is the essence of locking it. If you don't understand how to lock a cell or range of cells, go and watch my video on relative and the mixed referencing. So here too, the amount, still how much Tega sold in these years. We're going to do equal to sum if. Okay, we're going to select Tega down to Tanya. Then criteria is Tega is selected from this table. Then the sum range is the amount. This time around, we are out of quantity. We are talking about the amount and the press enter key. So this is the total amount Tega sold out of 269,000 plus. Tega only sold 30,800. So you fill down. So if they want to appraise the best sales rep in this company, the who sold more will be given the award, which is Tanya. If you from this report, you see that he did 82,720. She is the highest. So this is how you do your depends. Maybe they might have to find the best performing staff in your organization using this file. This is what you're going to use. For your answer, you cannot say, okay, good, Tanya is the best performing because in terms of quantity, she sold the more, and the higher your quantity, the higher amount you're making. So Tanya stands as the best staff in this company. Okay, so now we have known the quantity and the amount of each of these sales rep. Let's look at the how many times did they sell. That is, we're going to use count if to know how many times did they sell this quality. Tega sold 140 quantity. Now we want to find out how many times did this sales occur that she made 100 and she sold only 140. In this time we're going to use count if. So the count if is very simple. You're going to do count if. Then the range is just sales rep. How many times it appeared. Then the criteria, we select Tega here and close the brackets. So this 140 came as a result of 3 times. She only sold for 3 times. Let's find out for other persons. Okay, see why Tanya is the best performing staff here because he sold for 7 times. And the start of the 7 times, the quantity was 376, and the total amount is 82,720. So these are ways you can easily find out the best performing staff in your organization if you are given a task to do. So that is that for some if and count if. I hope it's clear. Make sure you like this video. Please subscribe and also encourage me in this journey of my data analysis. So let's go to the SUMIFS. SUMIFS. is we use when you have more than one criteria. Here we only looked at the quantity, we only looked at amount. But this time around, we want to know how many in this place. We want to know how many the sum of sales. How many sales did Tega sell in 2010, 2013, 2011, and 2012? So we want to find out how many out of this quantity that was sold. How did she sell it? This out of this 30,800. We want to break it down by years to see which of the years perform best, and also to find out the best staff for each of the year. So this is how it's done. So we're going to use the sum if. Sum if. I would advise when you're watching this video, watch it on full screen so that you see everything. I needed to be looking at the file so that you will understand what I'm doing. So this time around, I'm going to use sum when there are two criteria. When there are two criteria in that you are going to consider. So in this condition, we are going to consider what the total sum of sales Tega did in 2010, 2011, 2012 for all of them. So we're going to be using sum if to do this. So sum if S equal to sum if S. What is the sum range? Sum range is the amount. Then the criteria. You said the first criteria. Let's select the year, comma, then 2010. Then you go to the second criteria, which is sales rep. Select down, comma, Tega. Look at where I'm clicking. Then you close. With this, we have seen the total amount Tega did for year 2010. Remember, I'm going to use a reference, absolute reference to look up this so that I can be doing the same calculation for all of them. So this formula I wrote here can solve the issue for me. All I need to do is to look up some sales and watch this video on landscape so that you see in detail what I'm doing. So let me edit the formula so that I'll be able to lock the cells. So I'll select this range of cells, press function F4 to absolutely lock it. The same thing also here. This range is because we are referencing all of them at the same time in this table. So I lock it up. Then for here, which is J, which is here 2010, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lock the column. I'm going to lock this row. This row is constant. It's all of them are in the same row. So I'm going to lock it. Then for this Tega, this area, I'm going to lock the I because I is constant. They are all in column I. So I'm going to lock it so that once I'm dragging, it will not be altered. So that is that. So now that I've gotten for Tega's year 2010, I drag to this, I'll get the other years. Then I'll do the same down, and this is it for all other sales rep. So looking at this, you can see who did the highest in the year and also by the sales rep. So that is that. We are going to do the same thing with the quantity sold. So once here we consider the amount. So we are going to do here with the quantity sold. Okay, so the quantity sold here is, I'm going to do the formula using sum if S. Sorry. Okay, so here, what is the range? The sum range here is the quantity. Sorry, I'm going to minimize this page. Let me minimize it so that you can see all I'm doing at once. So the quantity here, let's go back, equal to sum if S. So the quantity is what we are considering now. So this shift down arrow key, comma. The first criteria, let's look at the year, comma. In the year 2010, and click here. That's the first criteria. The second criteria will be for sales rep, comma, and here we are considering Tega. So that is that for the formula. I close the bracket. I'll get the answer here. But if I drag this without locking it, the answer will not be correct. Let's try. If I drag this, it will not give me the right answer because I did not reference anything. So let's lock up and make use of our relative sales referencing function F4. Then here function F4. In this place, 546 is common, which is the row where the years are. So I'm going to lock it. Shift sharp. Then here the columns are common. I'm going to lock the columns. So once you understand how to lock, when to do your mixed referencing, you are good to go with any formula. Can you see that it has given us the answer? And likewise, I'll do for the rest. So once I do drop down, it gives me what each sales rep did in the year without breaking my head in formulas. So I hope you have understood what this sum if does. If this is not still clear, watch this video again and ask me question in in the comment section. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Bye for now. See you in my next video. Like, subscribe, and follow my page. Thank you, and encourage me this journey of data analysis. Bye.